You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
The futures markets can be downright scary. Limit up, limit down. What the heck is RBOB anyway? Are they going to dump a truckload of soybeans on your front lawn if you click the wrong button? Come to think of it, maybe you should just stick to your comfort zone. Or you can break out of it with the Futures Rundown. The Futures Rundown is here to help you make sense of these scary markets. We'll analyze all the top futures trading activity, explore the ins and outs of your favorite products, explain exactly how futures work, and hear from leading experts in the futures markets. We'll even tackle all of your wildest futures trading questions. If it involves futures, then you'll hear about it on the Futures Rundown. Old trading walks into a bar. New trading raises it. That's Tasty Trade. Keep focused with news feeds that matter. See opportunity differently in analysis mode. Chart your heart out with over 300 indicators. Plus, you can get low pricing, lots of education, and a support team that really gets how traders trade. It's no wonder Investopedia named Tasty Trade the best broker for options in 2024. Genius loves company. Go to tastytrade.com/podcasts and see for yourself. Tasty Trade Incorporated is a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA, NFA, and SIPC. And now, it's time to break into the futures markets. It's time for the Futures Rundown.
All right, everybody, that music means it is Wednesday. It's time to talk some futures. Yes, it is time once again for the Futures Rundown. My name, of course, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Radio Network. Your only choice for options podcasts for 19 plus years. Wild stuff out there. And of course, if you want more wild stuff and you want to sling a little futures maybe or some options, check out our friends over there at Tasty Trade. tastytrade.com/podcast as we check out what's lighting up the tape as we enter the trading pit.
It's time to break down all the action that's lighting up the futures markets this week. What's limit up and what's crashing and burning? Let's find out. It's time to enter the trading pit.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Trading Pit, the portion of the show where we break down what's moving and shaking, what's lighting up the tape in the world of futures this week. Let's kick things off. Let's go to the dark side, shall we? See what's turning red this week. Number 5 is our old pal NatGas. NatGas has been a very interesting product to watch so far this year. Like we said, played out textbook first few weeks of the year, first month of the year, and then all bets were off as energy became very much in focus, particularly LNG. A lot of interesting stuff going on in the world of NatGas, including some downside this week, off 4.4% for the number 5 spot this week. Number 4, we're getting sweet. It's sugar, number 11, off 5 1/3% this week. Number 3, it's our old pal, Mr. VIX. The May contract off 6.2%. I mean, it's been just a bloodletting in vol. You know that if you've been trading equities, or if you listen to our shows like Vol Views on the network, you know it's been an interesting time on the vol front as the markets have just taken this ceasefire and just taken the bit in their teeth and run with it. Explosive upside move, putting a bullet in the head of vol, at least for now. Apparently pricing in the fact that all this is done, which is, again, kind of wild, but interesting stuff out there. Number 3, the VIX off 6.2%. Number 2, it's our old pal OJ. Once again, your breakfast table gets a little bit cheaper. OJ off exactly 10%. 10.00%. Don't see that too often. And outpacing it ever so slightly to the downside. It's our old pal, the Goldman Sachs Commodity Index, which is kind of a cheat because it's kind of like a basket of other products. Nonetheless, it is slightly outpacing OJ to the downside this week, off 10.2%. All right, to the upside we go, listeners. We actually got a top 6 for you You'll see why in a second. One of them may bring a smile to the face of our crypto friends out there. Number 6/really 5, it's our old pal silver, up 5.33%. So silver getting some love back out there. You know, we were just talking about this on the European market brief yesterday on the network. Just the wild way that the metals have played out during most of this conflict. I think anyone who's traded for any length of time knows when there's a conflict in the Middle East, you do a couple of things. You buy oil. Usually you fade a little bit of equities. Maybe you buy some vol, and you certainly buy something shiny like gold, maybe a little bit of silver these days, but usually gold. And what we saw was that playbook didn't really work for at least for the early days of this conflict. And now we're seeing silver maybe play a little bit of catch up. Number 5/6 this week, up 5.33%. Number 4, it's our old pal copper. I haven't talked copper in a while, but we're getting base. Copper up 5.4%, so just slightly outpacing silver this week. Number 3, it's our old pal. The Brits love it. It's aluminium, aka aluminum, up 6.5%. Doesn't it just sound so much classier when you call it aluminium? Pass me the aluminium foil, please. Number 3, up 6.5%. And then number 2, kind of combined, it's our old pal Ether, actually taking a bit of an inhale this week. Actually, a little bit of green on the screen. If you want more talk about Ether and everything else, make sure you're checking out the Crypto Rundown program here on the network every Monday or on demand wherever you get your favorite options podcasts. The micro and the Ether futures combining for right about 6.5% to the upside this week. That means the number 1 spot goes to cocoa. This is a product that's had, I think, its fair share of troubles over the past year and change, but getting a little bit back this week, up nearly 9%, about 8.9%. So a little bit of upside in the land of all things sweet. Is it sweet out there in the futures market today? Is it an active day? You know, we're seeing new all-time highs in the major indices right now on the heel of this rally. We're seeing vol get annihilated. We're seeing crude still kind of threatened, but not quite break through that par strike out there. A lot of things going on in the futures market right now. But you would not know that by looking at our top 10 most active today. Only cost you 206,000 contracts to break into the top 10. I was just saying on the show not too long ago, maybe we need to revisit our barometer for an active day. Maybe 300,000 was not enough. And then lo and behold, we have a day like today where we're kind of watching paint dry. Number 10, it's WTI, but it's only putting up 206,000 contracts. That is the May expiration cycle, if you're wondering. Pretty much everything else with the, everything else on our list, because looks like crude oil kicked 3-month SOFR to the curb. That's usually hanging out in December. So crude oil is our only May representative on the list this week. Everything else going the way of the dodo in June, including number 9. It's the 30-year, 218,000 contracts. Number 8, getting a little bit closer to home, the ultra 10-year, 307,000 contracts. Number 7, really close to the fire now, it's the 2-year note, 366,000 contracts. Number 6, our first equity sneaking in there, it's the Nasdaq E-mini, 408,000 contracts. Number 5, appropriately enough, it's the 5-year, 713,000 contracts. Number 4, it's the S&P Micro, 922,000 contracts. Number 3, it's the 10-year note. Yes, all the way down at number 3. That's kind of wild. Shows you it's an interesting day out there today, listeners. 939,000 contracts. There's more back and forth between the White House and the Fed chair. Maybe that's tamping down action in the rates complex. Either way, not a lot of love for the 10-year today. Under 1 million contracts. Haven't seen that in a while either. Number 2, it's the big dog S&P E-mini, 970,000 contracts. That means you know what the top dog is. If it's not the 10-year note, you know what it probably has to be. It's the Nasdaq Micro, 1.4 million contracts. Obviously a micro, you know the caveat there. Not quite the same size contract, but still obviously a popular one out there. And speaking of popularity, let's see what's hot and what has not been for this year so far. Again, we're only halfway through April. It is tax day as we are recording this, listener. So make sure you get your taxes in. You folks out there sling in a lot of those 1256 contracts. You probably like tax day. But for the rest of you out there, maybe not a fan. Nonetheless, we've got some interesting action so far lighting up our tape. In fact, I think we have a top and bottom 6 for each of our selections this week. You'll see why in a second. Actually, no, we have a bottom 7 this week, listeners. You'll see why when we get there. Let's go to the upside first. You can probably guess what some of our upside winners are for the year, including number 6 is soybean oil, up nearly 36% so far year to date. Everyone's fixated on crude and a variety of other things, but soybeans have been very interesting to watch, and all the other products, the meal, the oil, the on again, off again, China trade, clearly driving some action so far this year, up 36%. Number 5, we're going out to the realm of dairy. I can't drink it. Maybe you can. It's non-fat dry milk, up 53%. Number 4, it's RBOB. What the heck is RBOB anyway, says the man in the intro, up 53.5% so far year to date. And then number 2, we're going out to Brent. Actually, number 3, we're going out to Brent, up 57.8% for the year. That means you know what number 2 is. It's its counterpart, its nemesis in life. It's WTI, up 61.25%. So WTI slightly outpacing Brent year to date. Have you been watching that spread, that Brent WTI spread? It seems like this conflict is almost tailor-made for trading that spread. Wild stuff, focused entirely on the Gulf, which is all Brent. Here we are cranking away WTI here in the U.S. So very interesting times in that spread. It reached its peak in over a decade a few weeks ago, coming back off that now, obviously. But nonetheless, it's still a wild year as seen in those prices. What could top Brent? What could top crude and RBOB and soybean oil and non-fat dry milk take the number 1 spot in our top 6 this week? Yeah, it's good old heating oil, up 75.5%. Absolutely wild stuff. Doesn't bode well for the winter months, but we shall see how this price action persists throughout the rest of the year. All right, to the downside we go. We got a bottom 7 this week, listeners. Again, you'll see why in a second. Number 7, which is really number 5, it's coffee. Coffee taking a break, actually coming in on our losers for the year list. That's kind of refreshing to see. I know for a lot of you S-Bucks aficionados, it's been a painful couple of years. Forget about how much it costs to fill up your tank. How much does it cost to fill up your cup at Starbucks? That has gotten god-awful expensive, I think is a technical term. So congrats, you're getting back 8.5%. I'm sure you'll see that reflected in your Starbucks bills post-haste. And then number 6, which is really number 4, it's Bitcoin, the micro and the big futures, giving up 16.5% year to date. That sure as heck ain't great, but compared to where Bitcoin was and where we've seen it in the past, I think the bulls will be okay with that, at least for now. And then we have number 3, really on our countdown. It's NatGas. Man, NatGas taking a drubbing off 19.33% so far year to date. And then we've got our combo coming in for number 2, listeners. It's ETH. The big and micro futures both off about 22% year to date. So ETH once again outpacing the other major crypto to the dark side. Not exactly a thing the ETH holders were looking for this year, but nonetheless is what you're getting. What's the big dog to the dark side? Well, if you've been listening to the show for a little bit, you could probably guess. I'll give you a hint. It was number 1 in our weekly upside movers this week, and it's also number 1 to the dark side for the year. What are we talking about? It's a name that has been beaten up and left for dead at this point. It's Cocoa. Cocoa off nearly 42% year to date, but as you can see, looking a little bit better this week than it did last week. And that's going to do it for this Just the Facts, Ma'am edition of the Futures Rundown, getting you in, getting you informed, and getting you on about your trading day. I wish there was more to trade out there so far today. Kind of a light day, but hey, go sling some equities, I suppose. There's a lot of action out there right now, and certainly some action in vol. If you want to talk about more any of this stuff, we want to talk more vol, you want to talk more equities, you want to talk a little bit more futures and futures options, dare I say it, then make sure you subscribe to the full network. TWIFO, aka This Week in Futures Options, comes up every Thursday, very much the sister program to this one. We'll talk crude, we'll talk equities, we'll talk metals, we'll talk ags, you name it. It can make an appearance on the show every week. That's why you have to tune in every week. If you want to dive deep into vol, make sure you're joining us for Volatility Views on Friday. And then, of course, make sure we see you back here next Wednesday, another episode of the Futures Rundown. Stay safe out there, everybody.
Old trading walks into a bar. New trading raises it. That's Tasty Trade. Keep focused with news feeds that matter. See opportunity differently in analysis mode. Chart your heart out with over 300 indicators. Plus, you can get low pricing, lots of education, and a support team that really gets how traders trade. It's no wonder Investopedia named Tasty Trade the best broker for options in 2024. Genius loves company. Go to tastytrade.com/podcasts and see for yourself. Tasty Trade Incorporated is a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA, NFA, and SIPC.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.